Hey, this is Brian O'Halloran. We're here at the New York City Comic Con, here in the lovely Javits Center, right in the heart of Manhattan. I'm Brian O'Halloran, as I said earlier. You might know me from such great films as Clerks, Clerks 2, Brutal Massacre, Chasing Amy, and many, many more. You know, I started in theater when I even auditioned for Kevin. I'd been doing theater for about 3 or 4 years prior to that. So that's my heart and soul as an actor. I mean, if you want to become an actor, your first step is to do live theater, is to concentrate on being in front of an audience, being able to think on your feet, and you have to know the entire script right then and there. You can't just go, oh, stop, cut, let me do it again in front of a live audience. So that is true. That's one of my true passions. As a matter of fact, I just closed a show for the New York Fringe Festival this past summer of a friend of mine's script called Submitted by C. Randall McCloskey. And it's just great to go back to my roots in doing theater. I do usually one theatrical production every 12 or 14 months. I'll do a couple of films and then I'll do a theater show. Well, I started on the horror genre because a filmmaker that I'd met at the Long Island Film Festival who had made an actual horror film won an award in which I was presenting. And we just got to talking at the gala afterwards, and he's like, you know, my next film I'm writing is a comedy, would you be interested in? And I was like, absolutely sure. Not knowing that it was a comedy based on a horror film, meaning he made a fake documentary about the making of a horror film, thus the comedy. And that's the movie Brutal Massacre, which you can now find on Netflix or Amazon or Best Buy. It's a great, great comedy. You can go to brutalmassacre.com to see more information on that. And through that, once it got distribution through Anchor Bay, to promote the film, they brought the film sneak previews to horror conventions, not far from this type of environment. And that's what got me on that circuit. And then once I started meeting filmmakers who do that type of genre, it was just another step. I did a horror film down in Philadelphia called Calendar Girl, but that's once again a horror film that has comedy elements in it, which is now making the rounds of the film festival circuit. The Happening, I have an agent who's based out of Philadelphia. I have one of my agents who's based out of Philadelphia, and he had submitted me because M. Night Shyamalan usually makes his movies out of the city of Philadelphia. And so he had sent me in and said, look, there's this part, you know, this day player part, you want to go in and do it? I was like, to work with M. Night, I'll do anything they want. And so I went in and auditioned, and they cast me as the Jeep driver in The Happening. Very small, if you blink, you miss me. Well, there was the film Calendar Girl, which I mentioned earlier. That's making the film festival circuit. And then films that I've done in the past that a lot of people aren't aware of. There's one called Drop Dead Roses, which I did up in Toronto, Canada, which is about 2 guys that own a flower shop, but it's not your typical type of flower shop. Very funny comedy. Another one would be called The Junior Defenders. I did that film with Ali Sheedy and Justin Henry and Jason Frank and a few others. That's another one that you can find on Netflix. Those are the only ones I can think right now. Upcoming, I have 2 films next year. One called Keeper of the Pinstripes, which is about the New York Yankees, about a young man who overcomes poverty and illness in his family to become a bat boy for the New York Yankees. And the other one is a horror film called The Gathering. But this one truly is a horror film, and it's got tons of people involved. Robert Englund, Linda Blair, David Naughton, you got Doug Bradley, many, many more. Go on imdb.com to find out more. Don't have any fear of approaching certain, actors who are of some note. If you feel like I want to get someone in, find the way to get them the information to work on your project. Usually what a lot of actors will do is if their schedule is empty, they'll do a job. They'll really will do a job. If as long as the script is well done and you guys have all your stuff together. The one thing, don't skip out on, catering. The best thing, if you want a volunteer crew to keep working on those late shifts, make sure you have kick-ass food for them to come back once they're done to come back to. Even if you have to recruit moms of crew members to cook. Today's their day to cook a big batch of food, whatever. It's most important. Keeping your crew happy gets the thing done. That's the last thing you want to do is have people complaining about the simple things. Well, I had a lot of people going like, you need to have a MySpace, or you need to be on Facebook, or So finally I gave in, I joined Facebook. There's a fan page as well as another page that's my own. And then there's also Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter as Brian, the letter C as in Charlie, Brian C. O'Halloran. And I don't tweet a lot. I'm not a big, like I had, a great salad for lunch type of tweeter. But I will tweet when I'm doing events or I find something interesting to talk about. So please, you can follow me on there.